Oh, hot, 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 hot! Hot, 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 hot!
Hot topic.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you listen to this on a Friday. This is Hot Topic number 2.
Number 2, baby. And not in the poo type. Sorry.
Breaking stories tonight.
Sorry, everyone.
Not two breaking stories from a few weeks ago, but we're getting to it now because tism. Our story tonight, Sally Phillips, actor, comedian, public person, has said, we should never have had people who are neurotypical playing neurodiverse characters. Now, this headline stood out to me because I was like, aha, I agree with that. But also as an actor, I'm a little bit like, is it or is it not acting? But we'll get into this. So actor, writer and comedian Sally Phillips joined a conversation to discuss her new BBC One comedy show, Austin, on Radio 4. So she plays Ingrid, the wife of a much-loved children's author who has just discovered he has an adult son who is neurodivergent. Sally spoke about the joy of working alongside actor Michael Theo, who is autistic and plays the lead character Austin in the series. You may recognise that name or him from the show himself because he is a former participant, won't say contestant, of the TV show Love on the Spectrum. Sorry, everyone. She shared how much she enjoyed the role and how much of her role was influenced by her relationship with her own son, who's called Ollie, who has Down syndrome. And she also discussed the need for accessibility to ensure neurodiverse actors can be represented in the industry and the responsibility she feels to others in the community to use her platform. You can listen to the full interview with Sally Phillips on BBC Sounds. It's the Woman's Hour episode from the 3rd of April, and it's like a 2-minute clip. So this is going to be our topic for today because I saw this headline and was like, oh, we should never have people who are neurotypical playing neurodiverse characters. And as I said, I was like, oh, brilliant representation, getting our people out there, get them in work, get me in work. I'll have a bit of work. I'll do that. I'll play Austin. Why not? But then there's that part of me that's like, is it really acting if I'm just being me on camera or, these sorts of breakdowns. So Jordan, why did you rebuttal me when I sent this story to you?
All I could imagine when you sent it me was you just sitting there with a big smiley face. Go, oh, I found one. Jordan's gonna
finally. He'll like this one.
Jordan is going to be so happy with me. Oh, he's going to love it.
I'm reading the right stuff, Jordan. Look at me. Look at me go.
Look at me. I'm a good.
It's not like I ever
advocate.
offer books or anything, and you go, "Don't read that," and this is why. And I'm like, "All right then."
Maybe. No, I'm hard to please. I'm like a freaking 60s dad. I'm just hard to please.
You are the dad from the 70s show in moments. You really are.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read this is my personal actual reply on WhatsApp to Scotty after he sent me that, and because he put underneath, he sent me the article and put next week's hot topic, and I went, I'm just going to read this how it was in my head. What's the hot topic? How is it not hard to include some people, or the fact that once again the mainstream media compares Down syndrome to autism? These two are very different, and that basically hurts both groups. Even when they try and be positive, they end up being fucking insulting. Wrong words like neurodiversity, speaking as in a tone that suggests that Austin is a child almost, and promoting love on the spectrum, which we know is fucking rude and doesn't represent the majority of us. Also, I don't believe that ND should be hired to represent ND based on the fact they are ND. I wish more actors like Bella Ramsey would embrace their neurodivergence, and therefore you would have more neurodivergent people playing neurodivergent characters because you would know they're neurodivergent. Benedict Cumberbatch.
What did I put on the back of that out of curiosity? I just put, okay.
Oh, no, I've not finished.
Oh, no.
I have not finished. You will listen to me.
Oh, no.
Also, this is a very long one. Also, what exactly are we talking about when it comes to representation? Are we talking about the characters whose main personality trait is autism and they are the autistic character? Or are we talking about all autistic characters, even when they are just obviously coded? The issue here is that loads of people on that set she speaks of are probably also autistic, and no one is even talking about accommodations for them because either they don't know or even the person doesn't know they are autistic. Why is it all about Austin? Suggesting you only need to make adjustments for that one autistic person because they are known to be autistic is a failing in my opinion. It also likely that the adjustments weren't needed because they were already made because the people who would make them had already made them for themselves because they probably are also autistic. This whole interview just perpetuates the stereotype, even using the dumb phrase I thought we'd gotten rid of. If you've met one autistic person, blah, 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 blah. I had a day. It's just such an uphill battle to be taken seriously, especially when you see so many celebrities come out as autistic in a positive way. Then you get bullshit like this, slapping us in the face again, or even worse, giving us a tap on the head with a well-meaning, go get him, champ, and a thumbs up. Emoji with the sigh face.
What did I put? I can't remember. Or did I just not put anything?
I don't know how to... No, you ignored it. You ignored it.
I didn't ignore it. I just went, all right then, that's me. That's me to going, oh, okay then, yeah, fair.
Yeah, that's you told. No, the thing is that I never actually was like, that's a bad subject. I was like, but like we're happy to talk about it. We're talking about it now because you sent it to me. This is all you, baby.
Oh, thanks.
I did not know about this. I love the fact that we will find these things, but I assumed that you were like, look what I've got, and I was like, I'll tell you what you've got. You've got anger.
No, I've done the thing again. I've done it again.
You might as well just say to me, love on the spectrum represents all of us.
I don't mean to
just
find all the rage bait, but I still have that sort of thing. We were talking about it off air, and I think it's a great point, is that I am not on Facebook. I don't deep dive into what a lot of the internet is saying. So I'm not always in the spaces where people are going, don't read this. It's ABA coded and all this sort of stuff. And then I read stuff and I go, oh, I wasted £10 buying something that I can't send back now. So all of what you've said there. Yeah. What do you think of the show, Jordan?
I liked it. I liked it. Okay, so I've watched 2 episodes, and I haven't just watched 2 episodes because I've only watched 2 episodes. I only watched 2 episodes because I have ADHD, and I'm in the middle of watching White Lotus. So I'm kind of just like, I'll go back to White Lotus.
I will have to talk about that one day. I love that show so much.
And then the new series of Andor came out, and I'm like, I'm just going to watch that. You know, by the time you listen to this, I probably would have watched all the episodes. So it's not the problem with the show. I don't have anything against Sally Phillips for what, she said in that interview, because she says what most people say. And that's my problem. My problem is, how are we ever going to make change? How are we ever going to reach people? How are we ever going to actually have true acceptance if when the people who are trying to accept us, who are actively trying to make adjustments for us, miss the target by a million miles? Because it's not about making adjustments for the autistic person. It's about making adjustments for all autistic people, because we are all different. As
Absolutely.
Sally Phillips nicely said, we're all different, right? But we all have major things in common. And one of those major things in common is sensory issues. We all have different sensory issues. So if you can adjust your workplace or adjust your set for the movie to suit the autistic stereotype, so just like the extreme autistic stereotype, then that might actually genuinely help most autistic people that don't match that stereotype, because every single one of us matches that stereotype in some way or the other. But it's like, I'm a little bit like Sheldon Cooper, and then we were discussing it in yesterday's episode. I'm like a little bit of Ralph, and I'm a little bit of Martin. We're there's a little bit. It's one extreme to the other, but we're a little bit of both. So I feel like you can make those reasonable adjustments in your workplace just based on the stereotypes, and then you might find that it might actually help everyone. So I have no problem with the stereotype in general, but just don't stereotype every individual.
Yeah, because it's like it's very shoeboxy, isn't it? It's like putting all autistic people in a very similar sort of way. It's almost like surface level, isn't it? Go like, oh, well, they've got sensory issues, or they've got this, they've got that, they've got this. But like you say, you implement a lot of those things across the board. I think it improves the working world for everybody.
Yeah,
I
even
think it really does.
neurotypicals.
Absolutely, including neurotypicals. And I have watched most of the first episode, and I got distracted by looking at other things. I did. I didn't really connect to it. It very much matched exactly what I thought a low budget sort of BBC Three style comedy about an autistic kid would be. Like, if I had to imagine one in my head, this show is exactly what I thought they would make. You know, I think the kid who plays Austin, just remind me of his name quickly because my brain has just gone poop.
I think it's Austin.
No,
so the he's so much Austin, like himself. Sorry. He is himself.
So that's what I mean is like, I've not watched a lot of Love on the Spectrum. I've not seen Michael Theo, the actor who plays the titular character Austin in Love on the Spectrum. So I have no pre-understanding of who he is as a person, what his character is. But as in that first scene when he's walking across the factory, talking to people, I kind of viewed it as this is how a neurotypical would write an autistic person at work.
That's why my first reaction to this was, again.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even angry. I don't like because the kid, right? The Austin, that's how he is on Love on the Spectrum. Like I remember him. I thought I liked him a lot.
He's a charming kid. Like I like the guy. He's a really nice young man.
Yeah, he's a really lovely kid, and he definitely is like a lot of autistic people that I know. But he's not like most of the autistic people I know, because most of the autistic people I know are like us, and that could be because obviously I'm like me, and that's who I'm going to be around. But keep in mind, I've been doing this a while. I've met a lot of autistic people, been to a lot of autistic events, and done talks with autistic charities, and a lot of autistic friends who have children who would vary in degrees of their impairment. So I know a lot of autistic people, and this represents a very media-friendly version of it. Of the, I don't really understand like catchphrases or what's the word where you know, like someone were like, oh, you know, you're flogging a dead horse.
Oh no, I've done that thing where you've asked me an answer and my brain's gone poop.
My brain went poop, and then yours went poop.
And then mine went poop on each other's brain. We pooped on each other. Oh, poop brain. Don't do that.
Like just phrases, you know, that people would use, and it's like they just don't get it. And he pulls out this like little notepad when someone says something like, "Oh, I'll grab that," and he's like, "Oh, you'll grab what?" And the guy's talking about like the check, like he'll pay for the food. And he's like, "Oh, I'll grab that." And he's like, "What will you grab?" "Oh, that's the other one." Yeah, he says, "Oh, Bob's your uncle," and he said, "No, my uncle's name is Terry." And
so he's taking
like
the literal thing and turning it up to 1,000 then.
What it is with a lot of these autistic representations, it's not that it's not realistic, because I was probably like that when I was a kid. I absolutely
I have moments,
understand.
Not that literal, but I have a couple of moments where someone says something to me and I go, they're doing what?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, right, okay.
Sophie is like this a lot. She actually is like this probably more than the Austin kid, where I will say something, she just doesn't understand the fact that it's like sarcasm or it's a joke or it's a phrase. She's like, I've never heard that phrase. It's almost like I quite like, I do like the idea that he gets his notebook out and he writes it down, because I wish Sophie would do that, because the amount of times she forgets that I've told her that. And she's like, I've told you that 5 times, that turn of phrase. So look, like I said, I have no issue whatsoever with the kid in the program. I actually think it's sweet. My issue again is the same as on the Love on the Spectrum in general, the same with the Good Doctor, the same with all the programs like this, is it's just one very narrow version of an autistic person that everyone would just go, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Exactly like the dad says when he goes, oh, I'm on the spectrum. He goes, that makes sense. Because if I'm on that show and if I was his son, I mean, make him about 80, but it is that trope of that I see in the media, like not all powerful, but a lot of powerful women characters nowadays that are written by men are just nasty. Like there's no powerful female characters who are just really lovely and friendly, but at the same time they can kick everyone's ass, right? They exist.
No nuance, is there? It's very black and white, two-dimensional.
Fallout is such a great example of a fantastically written powerful female character with a great arc. It's not a trope. It's a really well-written character because the people that wrote it were most likely women who fucking know what it's like being a woman. But you get the men writing these characters and they just make all these women really, really unlikable and but they're super powerful because, women power. And it's like, and exactly with this is the neurotypicals version of what an autistic person is.
Yeah. And I find that a lot with a lot of media, and I can really pick up on it very quickly, but almost going on to the point that I kind of want to touch on this, that having neurodivergent people playing neurodivergent people as a background of an actor. I've been on film sets, right? They're not the most comfortable places to be. Sometimes you have to be there at 4 a.m. Sometimes you're sitting there for 6 hours just waiting to be called. Sometimes you have to sit in a makeup chair for 2-3 hours. There's an awful lot of small talk on film sets. And there's a lot of hidden etiquette as well that you only really pick up on by being on them. It's like everyone thinks that you go and action. On UK sets, they don't say that. They go and rolling. So there's loads of little different sorts of nuances. So if I wanted to make a film set neuro-affirming, I would have not only would I have a cue sheet of what's happening in the day in a running order that's really clear and obvious, which will completely go out of the window because they never matter. Things overrun, people don't turn up, people are too early, blah, blah, blah. Having a codex of the language of the terminology that's being used. If you haven't got experience on a film set, you haven't got a freaking clue what's going on. There's so many people walking in and out. There's so many people that just walk up to you and will just touch your face without asking.
Oh.
I've had that multiple times on film sets where I have literally finished a scene and somebody walks at pace straight up to me with a brush and just starts touching my face. There's not a lot of boundary sometimes. It's I've even had it before where I was sat in a thing and a woman went, "Oh, we're going to cut your beard today. Is that okay?" Cool. And before I could even ask, she went, "Meh," and just took it straight off my chin. There are a lot of things in that sort of space that would be quite triggering. I mean, your reaction says it all. But also it kind of brings me back to, do you remember when Eddie Redmayne won the Oscar for The Theory of Everything?
Yeah.
And a lot of people were commenting, going, "Oh, you should have had a character that was suffering from the similar thing to what Stephen Hawking suffered with, better representation on screen, or a wheelchair user on screen." And I do agree with that. I do think, like you were saying, there does need to be better representation. Having an autistic actor in a show is going to be a much more authentic representation than a neurotypical actor playing a neurodivergent character that's written by a neurotypical writer, because it's based on stereotype and not lived experience. But then the theory of everything is that it shows the progression of the character of being an able-bodied verbal character to being a non-verbal unabled-bodied character who needs assistance. And there is almost an arc of performance of that. And I think there is something to be said about somebody who is an actor being able to embody a role. I think, Eddie Redmayne being able to do that because, I've seen his portrayal of Newt Scamander or Salamander in Fantastic Beasts, who I believe that's a very neurodivergent coded character. And that kind of makes me go, well, is the fact that he's played recurring characters like this is obviously coming from lived experience. That's why maybe a lot of his characters are autistic coded, because he's just autistic.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Like Benedict Cumberbatch. So I see these sorts of roles and performances, like Benedict Cumberbatch's performance of Sherlock and Doctor Strange is
also Alan Turing.
And Alan Turing, he plays these roles with this sort of emotional sensitivity. and vulnerability. And he also plays characters that have very fragile egos, but are exceptionally brilliant at what they can do. You know, one of the reasons as to why Stephen Strange is the way that he is he's trying to get his hands back because he was so good at being a surgeon. He'd lost his complete identity. And Benedict Cumberbatch brings a real authenticity to that role. I haven't seen Love on the Spectrum. I've not seen this young actor's performance in, you know, outside of this show. But I felt like it was very much go be you on camera.
Oh, it is literally like Eminem playing
right
the character he did in 8 Mile. It's not acting. It's go out there and be you. For me, the whole Austin thing and them celebrating, look, we got a neurodivergent guy to play a neurodivergent guy is just so cringe because it's like, what? So we're the token character now, are we?
And that's why I'm not going to continue watching this show personally. I'm not the biggest fan of BBC comedy drama. Nowadays, I'm more the 2010 sort of guy. I like surrealist comedy. I liked Cuckoo, but other shows like this don't do it for me. It's just not my sort of humor.
I think I want to watch it all the way through because at the end of the day, if I'm going to talk about it, I want to see it all the way through because I have no idea maybe, you know.
But it made me cringe,
I don't know.
And I struggle to get past that now. Once I feel cringe, I really struggle to like go, I'll give it a second chance because I just already feel cringe. I feel a bit cringe talking about it. It's like there is something just, you know, putting it out there. I find being an autistic person, when I watch autistic shows, there is a part of me where I go, I have to like this. You know, I have to be supportive. Yeah. You know, I'm seeing. I saw the article that Sally Phillips put out related to this Woman's Hour interview, and I went because instinctively I was like, I want to be supportive. I want to be supportive of my community. I want to, you know,
I am way more
people.
Skeptical.
But then that's what I mean is like I think there's almost this sort of like naivety about wanting to be positive about everything I see. I do feel like I do that. Maybe it's just my nature, but I do see things and then I disappoint myself later down the line rather than just being cynical from a straight off the bat.
One last thing, what you were saying about, you know, should neurodivergent people play neurodivergent characters? One, like we said, I already think they do.
Yes.
It's just not in your face because it's not like if you make a movie about Alan Turing, he was neurodivergent and gay, but does that mean you have to have a gay neurodivergent person playing? Because then you've got to go, okay, well, who's the best person for the job? Well, clearly Benedict Cumberbatch was the best person for the job because his role was epic.
Sensational performance.
And he's not gay. Like that. That's the thing. Is like, should only gay people play gay characters? And I think one of the best. I have no idea whether it's representation of a gay person. I'm not a gay person, so I don't get to speak on that. But what I can say is, performance-wise, emotional-wise, one of the best performances of LGBTQ plus characters that I've seen was that one episode of The Last of Us with Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman's performance. The guy he played opposite was, and I apologize to everyone that I don't remember his name, but Nick Offerman particularly because I'm a massive fan of Nick Offerman because I love Parks and Rec, which is just an entire autistic crew of people just working in one building.
Maury Bartlett is the actor that you're thinking of.
Maury Bartlett, a
Australian
wonderful,
guy, amazing actor. White Lotus is incredible in as well.
Yeah, I absolutely love White Lotus. But 100%. Nick Offerman's not gay, but it's called acting. Acting is in make-believe, pretend.
Robin Williams in Birdcage.
Fantastic.
You know, incredible performance opposite, you know, Nathan Lane, who was a closeted gay man at the time. And, you know, they talk about how Robin made him so comfortable with expressing himself in an acting space and made it really safe for him. And yeah, it's a difficult one, I find this one, because as an actor, I really relish in playing roles that I don't really have association with. It's like I've played a gay character before and I thought the experience was incredible. I acted opposite somebody who was gay and they did sort of help, you know, talk me through certain aspects of the performance. So I think you don't necessarily have to have an actor who is what they are playing, but you need good writing from the perspective of lived experience. You need
yes. Oh, that's such a good point.
But, if I'm going to play a gay character, I should speak to LGBTQ plus representative communities to have better understanding of lived experience to create an authentic performance.
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily, in our opinion, doesn't necessarily have to be the person who's playing the character is gay, but the person who wrote the script.
There we go. I think we've got there.
They're the person that should be gay. And I see this with Kim's Convenience, that all the characters were Korean, I believe. Okay. And great show. Loved it. Thought it was really funny. Really loved the characters. But you find out that there's all these problems behind the scenes, and a lot of people didn't like it, and they ended up cancelling the show because of all the complaints. It turned out that everyone writing for this show was white.
Oh.
So all the stereotypes, all the jokes, they're written by white people. And then I kind of felt icky that I thought that was funny. Not that that was funny, but the show was funny.
Yeah, it makes you think about where your stereotype thinking
Am I the
right?
neurotypical watching autistic people in this scenario? I am. I'm the white person watching the Korean people and laughing. And I just felt...
Not with them, at them.
Yeah, because it's a funny show. And I just felt really...
But that self-awareness is really good. Having the ability to go, oh, I'm not happy with how that made me feel, I think is how you progress and work on things, I think.
Almost like someone laughing at a minstrel. Oh.
I wouldn't say it's that extreme, my friend.
I know. I catastrophize everything. I'm the worst human ever. That's how I kind of go in my brain.
Right,
it's like everything I do is terrible.
I understand is especially learning that I am a disabled person that's in a minority group of society, and we have our culture and what isn't authentic representation. I mean, I'm a white cis male. That isn't going to change about my identity, but I am autistic. So I have a different lens, a different part of the spectrum, that I'm looking in from. And I think understanding the difference between laughing with and laughing at is super, super important. Super, super important. Sometimes I watch Big Bang Theory and I feel like it's laughing at rather than with. But then I will watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia and I feel like I'm laughing with rather than at. But I've had conversations with people and they think the complete opposite. So it all depends on your perspective. But I think having an awareness is the important thing. If you're going into this blindly and kind of just going very black and white simplistic thinking, then that's when it's damaging. But the fact that we're even having this conversation, I think, is important because, how do you know how you feel or where you stand until you hear other opinions and express your own? It's got to be a parliament sort of space, hasn't it?
The worry for me is that if you turn around and go, okay, only neurodivergent people can play neurodivergent people, then do you then turn around and go, well, then only neurotypical people can play neurotypical people? And then you've just gone on that line of, wait a minute, hold on. Are you saying neurotypical people are not allowed to play neurodivergent people, but neurodivergent people are allowed to? And that's not equality, dude. That's not how equality works.
It's complex, isn't it?
Do we need equality through equity? Yes. Are there more neurotypical characters than there are neurodivergent characters? That's debatable if you take away, if you think about coded, but actually you are the autistic character. So maybe what they need is just what it is in society. It's just a really big mix of autistic and non-autistic characters that are they just coexist as if people
rather than just token characters have multiple neurodivergent characters.
I would say
sense.
Yes, if there is a token, if you want to chuck your token in there and go, this is the autistic person, let's all stare at them, then you absolutely have to have an autistic person in that role. I 100% think you should. So I think with Austin, they definitely should have had an autistic person in that role. But, it brings, a genuine side to it. But again, it's the love on the spectrum thing.
Because I don't think that show would have got made if he wasn't casting it.
No, I agree. I think
he's the selling point of that show.
Yeah, which also makes me a bit gross. out by that.
That's kind of why I'm not watching it.
Yeah,
I want to support
let's
people.
all look at him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It feels with. It feels at, not with.
Yeah, even in the show, they're using him as a PR stunt to make the dad seem more popular because he made
isn't it?
He made a faux pas, and he's being cancelled because of tweeting some racist rant that was a bio-racist, but it wasn't racist.
I retweeted it.
Yeah, he retweets it, and then he starts getting cancelled. And his PR team are like, "What's that? You've just discovered you have an autistic son. Let's use that." That's literally in the show. And then I went, "Wait a minute! Isn't that show doing that exact thing?"
Meta, yeah. It's like
it's
literally
unironically
meta, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I didn't connect with it. And do you know what? I want to be with it, but it feels too at to me.
Well, I'm a self-harmer, so I will carry on watching this episode.
As you were.
I hate myself, and therefore I will continue watching it.
Yeah, but let us know what you think. And with the representation, characters, actors, I'm really interested to hear what people's opinions are on that, because we'll all have different perspectives, and it's interesting to share and discuss.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us on our second hot topic. That went on way longer than I thought, but that's because we
were like, these
love
will only be 20
other.
minutes. These will only be 20 minutes.
Yeah, you got more bang for your buck than you thought you would.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Until next Thursday, everybody, we will catch up with you then. Thank you for tuning in to the Neurodivergent Experience Hot Topic Numero 2. I think that's how you say that.
And we are doing echolalia is the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Neurodivergent Experience. We hope today's episode sparked something for you, whether it's a new idea, a bit of validation, or just a moment of connection. Remember, new episodes are every week, so be sure to join us for the next one for more conversations and insights into the neurodivergent experience. If you've enjoyed this podcast, help us grow. You can do that by rating and reviewing this show. Your support makes a huge difference in helping us reach more people who could benefit from these conversations. You can connect with us on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Just search for the Neurodivergent Experience. Thank you again for listening. And until next time, take care of yourself. You're not alone in this journey.